Man, that music gets me. It gets me every time. The theme to Nothing But the Truth. Hey, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, family.
And welcome back to another edition of Nothing But the Truth with
Brother Jamil.
And Sister Teasha. Got to figure out which way we're pointing today.
You know.
But I tell you, brothers and sisters, you are in for a wonderful program tonight. We're back with you after a refreshing pause for the cause. Just back in town from Detroit for Savior's Day 2026, in the midst of Ramadan, and just feeling great, high as a kite on the spirit of Allah. So it's a wonderful thing to be with you tonight and to gather with you, even if it's just a few of us touching base and getting back in the groove. And speaking of groove, we got a guest for you tonight that we'll be introducing in just a moment. But we first need to do the housekeeping that we do every week. Let me give you the wonderful and the greatest co-host in all, let me read it off the sheet that she gave me. Most beautiful co-host in all the world. Yeah, Sister Teasha.
Did I give you that? Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm so glad to be back on these airways, hanging out with you again. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. All right. Like he said, we've got a wonderful show for you tonight. You don't want to miss it. But before we do that, we need you to help us build this platform. You know what to do. Go over to YouTube. You can just do the hashtag. Is it the hashtag or the little ampersand, whatever, the little @ symbol, and do Jamil and Teasha. And then that'll take you straight to the YouTube page. Like, share, and subscribe. Then go to Facebook and do the same. Like, share, and subscribe. You can go to my page, Teasha Muhammad, and then segue right on over to Jamil's page, Jamil Muhammad. Like, share, and subscribe.
Okay. And you can do it. Yeah, it's easy. It's the best way to do it. It makes it easier for everyone to access what we do and for you to share the good word that we are sharing with many, many people, as many as we can, the good word that there's something good for you. I don't care what they said before. There's something good for you. Wa alaikum salam. Brother Jerry is with us tonight. We see you, Brother Jerry. And sometimes we hold the comments out. We might not put them in at the immediate time they come in, but I'm glad that Brother Tyrone is with us from Mosque number 28. And you know where that is, right, Teasha?
Yeah.
St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis is St. Louis.
Tyrone is.
And Brother Tony's there in St. Louis as well. Good to see you, Doc. Wow, everybody's, man, there's Patricia. Oh, there's Trish. Hey, fam. Hey, Trish. So we are gathering, as you can see, around the horn, around the way. But we have a special guest to present to you tonight. Teasha, may I present the guest now? Because we got a lot of conversation for her.
A lot.
She is one of the most dynamic personae in the nation of Islam today, really in Black America. She is known as an executive who has been able to transform and remission nonprofit agencies to serve the communities that they were said to have served before she got there. But she made it happen.
Right.
She's also a midwife of great repute all over the nation, from the East Coast in California to the East Coast in South Carolina to the West Coast in California to the Gulf Coast in Louisiana. She's known all around the world for that as well. She is now the head of the Good Health Family Healing Center in Oakland, California. And she's back with us in these airways. And she's our sister. She's family. That's the main thing. So let's bring back before the microphones and cameras our sister, our friend, the great Sister Jayvon Muhammad. Sister Jay, good to see you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the introduction. I just feel amazing.
Yes, you look amazing, Doc.
You should.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem. You know, when we give the introduction, if you don't mind, Teasha, I just want to ask this while it's on top of my head. The introduction for you, if it were a bio, would have like volumes, like a book, like, okay, her bio, volume 2, volume 3, like it's a lot. You've done a lot. You've been an energized dynamo ever since I've known you back in the early 90s or late 80s. You're always moving and doing things. How is it that when you come out with lifestyle medicine, which is what the Good Health Family Health Center or Healing Center will be doing, when people hear that term, what does it mean to them in plain language? Lifestyle medicine.
Well, it could mean a lot of things. So I am a fellow at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine,
Mhm.
and they started several years. Well, it got popular several years ago, and really it's just logic. It's the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But finally they said, maybe when we look at healthcare, we need to look at the root cause of disease. And maybe the root cause of disease is centered around poor nutrition or the lack of sleep or poor social connections. And so, lifestyle medicine, as coined by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, has 6 pillars of health. And so the commitment and providers are joining and joining and joining, it's growing. And the idea is that as you're treating your patients or clients, you're considering these 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine instead of rushing to pharmaceuticals to treat disease. So you're thinking about a whole food, plant-based diet. You're thinking about physical activity. You're thinking about restorative sleep, stress management. You're thinking about the avoidance of risky substances, which is, don't use drugs, don't. And then also, I lost my track on where I was counting, but I think the positive social connections. I said that. So when you think about positive social connections, you think a lot about social media and how we don't connect with each other in person anymore. So then consider senior citizens who aren't getting out and may not even be on social media where everyone else is. So just acknowledging how important it is to talk to each other, to be with each other, to be in community, how important that is for mental health and even physical health, because we know laughter is healing.
Right, right.
Here in Oakland, we're just starting Good Health, and we're going to be offering healthcare based in the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. Primarily through shared visits and telehealth, but also group visits. So the shared visits, they're also known as group visits. So we're going to get together and we're going to group people based on physical condition, and we're going to work it out. So for example, if we have a group of 15 people who are suffering from type 2 diabetes, we would group them together. And instead of them going to see their provider for a 15-minute visit and not getting all that they need to be able to really address the root cause of diabetes, we will be meeting for 2 to 3 hours. And so you will still get to see your provider, but you'll also learn how to cook a meal. And you'll take a walk. We'll do meditation. We'll address each one of those 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine within every visit.
Okay.
That is exciting.
Yeah, that was a great answer to the question. I didn't know it was
man. That's like, so you're offering like full body treatment. Like you're not just treating the symptoms. No. You're preventing more from coming. You're healing, and then you're It's like a whole lifestyle change.
You're treating education, right? Like the client can heal themselves, but we need to look at the root cause. Almost every disorder that is like chronic disease that we're experiencing now has food at the root.
Oh, wow.
So we can't do medicine without talking about food, right? Like we can't talk about diabetes, obesity, hypertension if we don't first start with food. Well, what is the challenge around that? People don't cook anymore, and some people don't know how to cook. So we noticed, when we had the crises with the SNAP funding and people didn't have their regular access to food, one thing that stood out was that young people, and I'm generalizing, of course, this isn't all of them, but young people don't know how to cook anymore. So when you say, just get a bag of beans, and make beans like your grandmother did. Well, you and I might think that's simple, but they haven't been cooking. They've been eating out or eating with others.
Right.
And so just that practice alone takes us down a pathway to poor health. So then when you add on that we don't sleep, we scroll all night, we stay up late, we're drinkers, weed has been legalized.
Yes.
We don't talk to one another, and we're stressed out. That pretty much is the cause of most of our illnesses, and we just need to name it and pull the layers back. The medicine part of that is so small. Like as a midwife, the actual therapy that I provide as a midwife is so small. Most of it is just managing environment.
Now, when you say managing environment on a broad scale, what we see in Black America in particular is that the overall environment tends to be more dangerous, more toxic, more challenging, more stressful than it would be if our material condition were to change. Is there an element of what you do um, at the health center that at the healing center that actually addresses those broad environmental issues?
So our practice is to teach the individual, and the individual will make that community change, like that environmental change, right? If we just go for the big picture and people don't understand how they make a change, I don't think it's very helpful.
Right.
For example, we are just being poisoned,
Wow.
period. Like
Mm.
if we think about what we buy to clean our home, forget about what we eat, forget about the air, but just thinking about when we clean our home, we're being poisoned. So if you can teach a person how not to buy bleach but to make, lemon and vinegar solution and have the same outcome, you're saving a life. So then they can go teach someone else, right? Like they can go home and teach their mother or their children now how to do that, so that we can take small steps to get to big steps, because we're just being slowly poisoned by everything in our environment that's touching us. So I would say yes, by teaching individuals and groups how to do better, how to think simpler, then where they're going out, and it's almost like, our mission in the nation right now, like make our community safe again. Like part of that safety is wellness, right?
Yeah.
Like so that we can be safe in our community. And so that is really what we're trying to do. So good health is just getting on its feet. I'm just coming back to the Bay Area. And so, of course, of coming back, I'm bringing services back here from Louisiana. But I was called here by a good friend of mine. So, I've been on the farm in Louisiana. I have
Mm-hmm.
a good friend who's an OBGYN in the Bay Area, and she recently became the chief medical officer of a federally qualified health center where my expertise lies. And so this particular federally qualified health center is in Oakland, California, and it is one of the last health centers in California that has a mission around African American health and health equity. And so, for me, that touched my heart, because we have to keep these centers standing. We have to have places in the community that provide community health to health, to Black people. And so she invited me, she asked me to commit to a year to come back and to help
Okay.
her get the center running, in a way that would help to make the community well. So I would say, looking at that center and looking at more resources, that is what we're doing from what is called Baywell Health now, trying to create programming on a bigger scale that touches more people. We're based in both West Oakland and East Oakland.
I love it.
Well health. Okay. Okay.
Jayvon, when in dealing with our people, or what you're noticing now, starting the center back up, what would you say is the biggest health myth that you come across that our people keep thinking it maybe something is good, but it's really a myth?
It's all connected. I mean, right now, one of the things that has me really disappointed is the idea that weed is okay for you. And when you think about marijuana, it's okay for you. THC is okay. When you think about California, we have both. We started out by legalizing weed for medical purposes, and then we just went full recreation use. So anybody who is 18 or over can walk into a cannabis club and they can buy marijuana. Now, they don't know that this marijuana is not the marijuana that our parents or grandparents or somebody in our community had, where it had the seeds and you had the little weed box and it was grown. They don't know that the amount of THC in this weed, the amount of other chemicals in this weed is causing us to suffer severe mental health issues, including schizophrenia. And there is data to link marijuana use with mental illness. And
Wow.
mental illness is rampant in our community. And it is the thing that keeps me up at night, because our centers are overrun by people experiencing some level of mental illness, whether it's, just a depression, or anxiety, or whether it's a severe mental illness, like it's out of control. If you look at healthcare, the amount of money that is going in the behavioral health or mental health budget is out of this world. And so the idea that alcohol and substance, I wouldn't say marijuana and alcohol are okay for us socially is not true. And we're seeing real time effects by that. But, we're countering a message that is louder than ours. Because when you're talking to young people, they have been fed a decade of information to say marijuana is good. Now, are there some uses for marijuana? Yes, in medicine, there are some. But it looks very different than what we see today. And as a result, we see young people experiencing mental health issues, but also the extreme loss of resilience. Our children have lost resilience in our young adults. And so to me, that's something that is like front of mind for me. I'm doing a lot of food work, and it goes right back to the food, right? Like the not having good food and then adding in substances that are not good causes to have mental health issues. And I mean, I'm trying to simplify that as much as I can, but it's all related. So I could highlight that, but I couldn't pick one thing out because we're just generally in a cycle of being killed. And the messaging is that you can use this, you can do that, it's healthy, but it's not. And go ahead.
Sister Jayvon, if you don't mind, I think Teasha's question was brilliant because it expanded your answer into some things that would domino into other questions. You mentioned that it seems that we are losing resilience as a people. Could you give some signs of what that means to see a lack of resilience demonstrated in day-to-day life? What kind of signs are there that we are losing our resilience, and generationally so?
So I'm going to give a specific and then general answer. So as you know, Brother Jamil, because you've traveled with me before, since 2013, I've been taking young people, primarily Black youth, on a trip around the nation for 4 weeks in vans. And the decree, like the changes in their ability to think straight and overcome challenges from 2013 to now is just pronounced. I mean, we went from young people who are experiencing social problems that we're going to address on the road trip and help them to have the tools to think better, to children who cannot engage in conversations because everything is triggering. Wow. Or I can't get my thought together because I'm on my medicine and I haven't taken it and I have depression and all of these things that have been pushed on them. But what it looks like is the lack of the ability to work through problems that we used to work through.
Wow.
And to be overwhelmed by the idea of doing that. And you might see that in young people around, that you're around. It's just that problems that used to be problems and challenges and didn't feel good, we still work through them. But now children just throw in the towel. Like anything that doesn't feel good is too overwhelming. And they've been diagnosed with conditions that may or may not be true. And then they've been prescribed medicine that affects their brain chemistry and guarantees that they'll always need medicine.
Wow.
Have you noticed too with that, because it's true, they're quick to diagnose our children and give them medicines. Are you noticing that the parents are standing up to be their children's advocate, or are they just going with it?
That's the question.
So that's a large question. So yes, some parents stand up. Some parents are educated enough about what's happening, or not even educated. Like, let me give you an example of what I tell my children all the time. I was a teen parent. And even when I got married, I was a young parent. And I was just coming into the nation. And there are many things I didn't understand. I just did it because I knew it felt right. Like the minister said it, and I'm going to do it. I can't tell you how many times just following an instruction in ignorance helped me. So I didn't understand how vaccines could affect my children back when I had them, when I was 18. But listening saved my life. So there are some people who just have heard information and it resonates with them, and they're like, not my child. We saw that a lot in the last few years. And then there are some parents who, have researched and they're educated. That's the small percentage. Most of the time, I am in conflict with the parent because I'm challenging them to make a better decision. But the entire system encourages them and supports them to choose the medicine. A parent will walk in and say, my child has ADHD and I need medicine for them.
Yes.
You know, well, they've been doing this, they've been doing that, they've been doing that. The teacher told me that they need an evaluation for medicine, or my family told me that this is not normal, or, you know, my child is developing slower than this other child. They have autism, they're on the spectrum. Like, so much information is coming at us, and we're not educated and sometimes not strong enough. Sometimes you can be educated, but when the whole system comes against you, you cave or you second guess yourself. So, you know, that's where trust comes in. That's where providers who will challenge the system come in, you know, who will tell you the truth. But I find in my work, and so I'm not a behavioral health provider, so I don't prescribe behavioral health meds or psych meds, but I can relate that to midwifery. In California, and there's a law in every state, but in California, the law protects children 12 years and up. Let me rephrase that, because it's not protection. There's a law that allows children 12 years and up to seek reproductive health care without their parents knowing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And so what that means is that your child at 12 can go to the clinic and be protected by law to get birth control, STI treatment, even an abortion, and you don't know. And I would lose my license if I told you. So that's a law. So it's 12 years. So sometimes I'm talking to parents and I'm trying to school them on the law. And they're always like, it's not my child. And I am like, it is your child. One thing 12-year-olds are doing is talking to each other. They all know it's your child. We have to get more involved. We voted for that. There was a vote that went down to decide that age, right? So it's just such a conspiracy. I'm telling you, it gets bigger. So you could wake up in the morning, you could drop your little girl, your little 12-year-old girl off at school. Your child can go without the school will work with the clinic. Sometimes now we're putting clinics in the school. So your child will come and say, I'm sexually active or I want to be. They will give them condoms and put them on Depo or something. And then your child who's 12 and is not going to use a condom, that's the greatest lie ever, that a 12-year-old has enough courage to ask, a 12-year-old girl has enough courage to ask a boy to wear a condom.
Right.
So we gave them this tool so that they can have, you know, safer sex, but it's not going to happen. So your child returns to the clinic with herpes or some STI, you still don't know, or they got pregnant because they didn't use this birth control correctly, right? Or it just didn't work. So your child you drop your child off to school the next day, and your child is on their way to the clinic to get an abortion. All that happened and you didn't know. In fact, that's a real case that we were just talking about last week. There's a child, you know, that it has gotten an abortion, and the parent, it was set up for the parent not to know. This is happening in a state that you're in. It might be a little older than 12. It might not be. It might be 12. But
you know, Jayvon, it's
things are happening to us, and all of these things make us sicker. 12-year-old girls are too young, and boys 12 to be engaged in sexual relationships.
Right.
If they don't walk away with an STI, they're going to walk away with a mental health disorder. We're not designed to be going through boys and girls in the numbers that we see. It's not uncommon to treat a 17-year-old who's had 12, 15 partners and will write it down. Let
me interject here now. I'm not a prude. I'm certainly not a prude. I'm not trying to sit on somebody's high horse. But for the survival of our community, I must bear witness that, Sister Jayvon, you are telling the exact truth. And it is happening in one legal way or another around the country. And we saw that, and I think you know where I'm going here, Teasha, when Norplant was introduced into the Baltimore City public schools and given to girls as young as 6th and 7th grade in middle school without parental knowledge or consent. the only way that they would remove the Norplant from the upper arm where it was implanted in these young girls was with a payment of $695.
Who has that?
When they actually had the drugs in the school system, they were not finished. The Wyeth Corporation was not finished testing the drugs.
Wow.
So what happens is that our people not only become guinea pigs, but now they become the open targets of the attempt of the enemies to destroy us. You're right, Saladin. So now the state and education system are gaining complete control over the children. This is crazy. And that's why it's important that we have more and more contact with people like the Good Health Family Healing Center in Oakland. Like we have more food coming from the Sugar Shack farms in Louisiana, that we have more outlets and creative ways to deliver health care that is ethical and morally principled and bound by right principle than we have in these systems. Because the hospitals, somebody once said the hospitals are for Black women what the police are for Black men.
Wow.
I'm looking at a comment from Brother William. What do we think about medical apartheid? I think that book is a must read for people to fully understand the history of Black people and Black bodies in the healthcare system. The book, it goes through all experiments that happen. And I'm going to say all loosely because we just don't even know the full breadth of what happened to us. But the book is about 2.5, 3 inches wide.
Right.
And it's going through research and experiments that happened on Black people throughout the years. And I mean, it's just, you know, to sit here today and work with Black folks who still don't believe that we have an enemy that is destroying us is difficult when you have tools, like when you have material like medical apartheid. Like there's just so much information that proves that we're not safe.
Do you still find the disparities in statistics where infant mortality is sometimes twice as high in the Black community, where you find malnutrition soaring in Black and Latino communities?
It has stayed like that for decades. So Black women now, so maternal mortality and morbidity is high. Black women lose their lives more than 3 times more than white women.
Wow.
In the perinatal period, we lose our babies almost 3 times, our lives almost 4 times. So that disparity has remained high over decades. There's many reasons why that happens. You know, we hear a lot about it. Like recently in Dallas, there was a woman in labor and this woman was mistreated so bad. She ended, you know, she was admitted late, and I think she had a I can't remember all of the events, but then there was a lot of talk around, you know, why we're mistreated in the system. And I couldn't get in that conversation because I was like, why are you in the system? There are so many midwives now. There's not that. It's not true that every woman can have a baby with a midwife or outside of the hospital, but most can, and we have them. Why do we continue to turn ourselves over to a healthcare system that has not been able to improve the disparities and outcomes for us and our babies?
This is heavy.
Because
you're actually viewing
where this happened. You can find midwives everywhere.
When we come back from the bottom of the hour, we'd like for you to get into your walk in the midwifery scene. We want to know all about it. You ready for the bottom of the hour? I'm overwhelmed. I'm still stuck on the 12-year-olds. I'm just
but I don't think, and we're going to the bottom of the hour, but I don't think that we should take away from Sister Jayvon's message the idea of hopelessness. Because of people like Sister Jayvon, we have great and expanding hope. And we'll be back to talk about that right after the bottom of the hour. Stay right there. This is Nothing But the Truth.
Assalamualaikum, family.
Assalamualaikum.
What are we saying? What are we doing? Woo! Assalamualaikum, family. Assalamualaikum, family.
Assalamualaikum.
We want to thank you for taking the time to tune into Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil
and Sister Teasha. We thank you for every Thursday night joining us for appointment viewing. 8 p.m. Not 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm going to come in on the p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Thursday nights by YouTube, by Facebook, by Instagram, by all the other means by which we can be seen. But we thank you because without you, as a matter of fact, here the Manhattans, there's no me without you.
He always do that. Assalamualaikum.
There's no me.
You didn't say assalamualaikum. You didn't say assalamualaikum.
Oh, assalamualaikum.
The little calypso music is so wonderful.
Yes, it has put you in a dancing mood. We're back with our guest tonight, Sister Jayvon Muhammad, a healthcare provider and a servant of the community in that particular way. She's over the Good Health Family Healing Center in Oakland, California, and Sugar Shack Farms in Iowa, Louisiana. And she's coming soon near to you. She's coming soon with healthcare that you can access in creative ways that help you get good quality healthcare despite the obstacles that have been erected in your path. So, Jayvon, you all right? You ready for the rest of this program?
I'm ready.
All right. And we've been joined by folks from around the country. I see from there in Atlanta, Georgia, there's Amina there's with us. And we also see Dr. Lawrence from Dallas, Texas. Wa alaikum salam to you, sir. And so many of others who are gathering from around the country to get the good news, if you will, the information that helps us move forward. Teasha, you may have some questions. I'm going to stand down because I got to write. My mind got juggled in the previous segment because I know that you're bringing hope and I know you're bringing good news, but it is a daunting task to try and resurrect a dead person. It's easy to give life when no life was there before. It's also easy to take life, but it's hard to resurrect. And that's what you're doing. So we have great respect for what you're doing.
Praise be to Allah. Earlier, Sister Jayvon, you talked about how a lot of our problems that we have stem from the foods that we eat. Can you touch a little bit on how stress affects our lives too, our health? Because our community, sometimes we don't know the proper way to deal with stress and we just go on. Can you help us with that?
Yeah, all of it. So the food and the stress is all affecting our nervous system, right? And our nervous system I thought it was beautiful. I was at the meeting last night. I know I'm talking, everybody might not have been at the meeting last night, but we were hearing about me and the gene within me that comes out as emotional, tantrums, or I'm not using the right words, but I think managing stress is a gift and it's a talent that we haven't had because we are bombarded with stress. Just stress from the morning to stress to the evening. But I want to go back to the decision making because much of our stress is because of decisions we make, doing it alone. So going back to midwifery and talking about outcomes and acknowledging that many of the women who enter care enter without a partner, enter without a husband, have assumed the idea that I don't need that, which when a woman comes into care, most of the time without a partner, she's more likely to experience food insecurity, housing insecurity, not be supported. And those things contribute to stress. And then that stress is within her system and it's messaging straight to her womb, to her baby, increasing the stress in the body, the stress in the developing baby that she's making. So I always try to be careful when I just blame everything on external things outside of our community. What a timely message to be talking about making our community safe again, because part of that is partnering up, because a lot of our stress would go away if we were in community, if we remembered to respect and love one another, if we helped one another. Though not having that has caused us to be alone, and being alone and having to accomplish everything is an unbearable stress for us that is manifesting in not only mental health challenges, but physical health challenges and hypertension, in obesity. That cortisol is everywhere. Our nervous system is off kilter, but we have to do better at acknowledging that a lot of that comes from our personal choices, and we're going to have the courage to be uncomfortable and make better choices. And food is a part of that. I stop people when they tell me eating good costs a lot. It does not.
Right.
It does not cost a lot.
Right.
And can make better choices to do that. The last time I was on your show, I mentioned, if Cardi B started making broccoli, I don't know which vegetable I use, people would pay triple the price to get that broccoli, because we pay for what we value. And so it's not, I can't put stress out and leave social connections behind and not bring food in and not talk about sleep, right? It's all connected. It's about changing the way we live so that we can build a better body and a better environment and a better community. We say all the time that we lose our babies more because of stress, which is true. Like, we are stressed out, but we can also manage that. We're also stubborn. We also, don't want to make choices that would help us to have better outcomes. If you enter pregnancy diabetic, you're going to be challenged. If you enter pregnancy obese, you're going to have more challenges. If you enter with hypertension, you're going to have more challenges. If you enter as a single person, then you're going to have more challenges. And all of these things are changes often for the negative that have happened in our community over the past few decades, because we had less money before and we did better.
Yeah.
Right. We had less disposable income. We had fewer crab leg dinners and fewer Louis Vuitton pocketbooks. We had fewer Cadillacs and G-Wagons, but we were healthier as families. We weighed properly. We carried ourselves with more dignity. So there is some kind of way that we have to address these things. And again, without being preachy, because one thing we don't do on Nothing But the Truth, we don't preach.
Yeah.
We don't preach. But I'll tell you, if you listen to what Sister Jayvon is saying, and she said earlier, she was a young mother, but she listened and obeyed to commandments given to her by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan through the hierarchy of the Nation of Islam. There's nothing wrong with you listening. You don't have to understand the science of everything. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us in 2020, don't take the vaccine. But some people took it. But now we find out that wasn't the thing to do. Do you have to understand recombinant organic nuclear chemistry to know what to take and what not to take? Just obey what you're told to do. That's my take on it. But since this is an editorial free zone, I can say that.
I'm not saying I did everything right, but I'm saying by the grace of God, I listened to some key instructions, and I hold that over my children's head today. You better thank Minister Farrakhan for that message. That had been me, with my lack of understanding, being a young parent coming up in the hood. I'm not, it's not about self-righteousness. It's just that we've had enough time to see all the wicked ways that our enemy is using to destroy us.
Yes,
like
ma'am.
Anybody, Ray Charles, as they say, can see that now. And so to keep getting caught in an obvious web. Like we all know, if nobody told us that certain things were bad for us, we know when we eat something, we feel horrible. We had a hurricane in Lake Charles in 2020. It was a really bad hurricane. It destroyed a lot of the city. And so it was difficult to get food, and I was working relief. And so there was a McDonald's open on between Lake Charles and Highway, and they only had 5 menu items because there was no distribution happening. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have, a fillet of fish on the way home each night because I wasn't home all day. I felt horrible. Nobody had to tell me that I was dying a fast death. I'm not even slow. I felt horrible. So I think, there's some things we know and we just don't have the strength or the courage to change. But in unity, we can do that. That's why it's so important to be around people who have a little bit more strength.
And you know what? And sometimes you just need to be around somebody to show you or teach you, like the classes you were saying, because I'm thinking back when you said people say to eat healthy is expensive, but it's really not. Maybe it's just that somebody needs to take you to the store and show you how to shop properly. How to buy the fresh fruits and vegetables and not everything that's prepackaged or whatever, because that stuff can get expensive, the prepackaged stuff. It's just we just need to be that community that you were talking about and help each other. Like you said, and it'll bless all of us. I wanted to see if you would touch on this comment that somebody had posted. It says, great topic. The topic or conversation is not spoken enough in our community for our young sisters to utilize midwives during their pregnancy, or am I mistaken?
Well, I have been a midwife since 2005. And when I started, there were 3 Black midwives in the entire Bay Area, at least that we knew outright that was practicing. And we, for a decade, all we could talk about was, coming into midwifery care. Come on, we got this service. If I can't count the amount of births we did for $500 because we just wanted Black women to have access to birth, while other people were gathering at the time about $3,800, $4,000. We were going around just piecemeal and said, what you got? How can we barter? Because we were so excited about midwifery.
Yes.
So I think, and that conversation has grown. It started with it was on the rebound because, they strategically outlawed midwifery. And then in the 70s, it started to come back, but they were pushing only nurse midwifery because you need to be in the hospital. And other midwives started to know, like, we don't want to be in the hospital. We have to have another model that will allow us to be outside, because the hospital is the beginning of our problems. Once we get interventions start to come for people who are low risk. This is a low risk conversation I'm having with you. So, midwifery growth, there were people fighting through with messaging, fighting for midwifery, creating programs. It was rogue at first, like schools were popping up. They weren't accredited. And so, the world started coming along, because outside of America, midwifery was always a standard in many countries, particularly Western countries like, Switzerland, Scandinavia, all of them. And Europe with the socialized medicine, they had midwives embedded in there. But here, it was challenging. And to be honest, Chicago, Alabama, there are a few states that just in the last 5 years passed laws to protect midwives who catch babies outside of the hospital. So it's just been an ongoing educational struggle, and midwifery has grown. More women are choosing midwives, but a lot of times they're women with means. And that's not a good public health measure, right? Like, all women should have access to midwifery care outside of the hospital. And the midwife should be able to afford her life. What will happen is Medicaid will approve midwives for out-of-hospital birth in a state, but you will be reimbursed like $1,800. But you just did the going rate is $8,000.
Oh, wow.
So the midwife can't really take a lot of Medicaid births.
Right.
And those are the people who need that service the most. Because
in community community midwifery is different than nurse midwifery. In community midwifery, we go to your house, we look in your cabinet, what you eat, who lives here. I'm talking about in a supportive way, not in a nosy way, but like, who's going to give her birth? Bring them to the visit. Let's get your husband or your partner involved in the care. Let's teach him, because really every midwife's goal is to have the father catch the baby is his. We just don't show you how to do it, and be there for safety. Midwives are only around for safety. Anybody can catch a baby. Baby's going to come if nobody showed up. The baby going to come, but what happens when something goes wrong? So it's just purely a safety thing, a comfort thing, learning how to calm women when they're in labor, comfort measures, calming the family, creating an environment.
Wow.
Yeah. And all of those things are interrelated. There's no doubt about it. We have about 6 minutes left in the conversation portion of the program, and we don't want to waste a single moment of that. Is there anything, Sister Jayvon, that you need us to take away as action steps around the country? What should we be doing right now? Just one little baby step in the right direction. What can we do?
Well, I think we need to put our minds in a position to think bigger, right? Like to think about separating ourselves from the system. It's terrifying and we're sick, right? Like, but we need to start thinking about alternatives and root cause therapies so that we can remove ourselves from the system. Like the sister who asked about midwifery. Today, women are still afraid. Like when you talk about home birth, they're like, what if something happens? Like we have to challenge ourselves to trust our bodies. And then on the other side, we have to create programs that help our community address root causes, that go back to old school education. I'm trying to do that. I'm also trying to work with some other providers in the nation right now on a telehealth model so that we can have a larger reach. And so, as telehealth grew in the last 5 years, we should be using that so that we can reach places in the nation and give them providers in areas that they would not have had. But we have to do some of that work.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Teasha, anything you wanted to add as we begin the wrap up portion?
Yes, just real quick, Jayvon, if you could, one tip or a small pointer how you could get us started on those, because you said it's better for us to live a plant-based life. One tip or one help us, those of us who still eat meat or maybe who are trying to get off of meat, what is one tip you would give to segue that way over to get us going in the right direction? You want to just jump ship, do you?
So you don't necessarily have to jump ship, but do not buy all of the processed meat alternatives because they're garbage. That's just like, you might as well eat the worst ultra processed foods because that's what happens. So my tip is for those who still need to eat a meat to feel like they're eating a meat, use lentils. Lentils you can make a meat substitute at home with lentils and barely any other ingredients, way better than anything you eat at, in the substitute field. Like the impossible, stay away from that Impossible Burger. What's the other one? Start with a B. It's another one.
Beyond.
Stay away from that because they're genetically modifying everything. Stay away from it, but take some lentils and you can add a few ingredients, soak the lentils, add a few ingredients and make whatever meat that you want to mimic.
Wow.
And also keep the meals simple. Like if you like 5 things, make those 5 things and master them and change them up a little bit. You don't veganism, which I'm not pushing veganism, but that's what people think when they hear plant-based. It gets expensive when you start buying all of these processed substitutes. We already have How to Eat to Live. We know how to make our bean soup. We know how to make them small red beans. We're being trained to cook. Master a few healthy meals and do that.
Speaking of healthy meals, right now on your screen, you're looking at the label of the famous Sugar Shack Farm Navy bean soup, which has been prepared to be shipped to you. Now, somebody other than Brother David C. Muhammad in Atlanta, who buys all of your stock that he can get his hands on, all of it. But I want you all to know, when you see that picture of that bean soup, I must confess, the first packages that we got, Teasha,
man,
I ate them. I ate them. I admitted that. And so
I hear that them disrespectful.
Well, it's very good. The spicing is in there because you know how y'all are. Y'all want spices in your food. You know who I'm talking to. I mean everybody. You want spices in your food, but it's perfectly spiced and seasoned and fresh and prepared. It's freeze dried, right?
Yeah.
And then sent to you. So when you prepare it, while your wife is away doing something else in the city, and you just want a couple of boats, so you can put 2 packages in there, just double the amount of.
You can use one pack. Sister Jayvon, explain to everybody the difference in the freeze dried versus the dehydrated.
It's the
This
technology. So
Mhm.
freeze drying uses freezer technology, and dehydrators use heat. So the freeze dryer maintains more nutrition because it's not heating the food. So freeze drying as a way of storage maintains 90% or more of the nutritional value of whatever you're freeze drying, whereas it gets greatly reduced with dehydrating. Also, the length of time you can store it. When you dehydrate something, it's up to 5 years, but you have to be careful when you freeze dry something. It's like that military preparation, and a meal can last up to 25 years in the
25
proper
years.
storage. I say 20 because I put butter in the bean soup, and the freeze dryer does not love oil. But I mean, imagine that. All you
Well,
do is add boiling hot water to the
if you get
pack.
Sugar Shack bean soup, it's not going to last 20 weeks. I'm just saying you're
No.
going to eat it because it's good. Now you
Yes.
can put it in your survival kit because you need it, but you're going to save it because it's good. You're going to eat it, and
And it travels well. You can put it in your suitcase and take it with you wherever you go. Then just add boiling water when you get to where you're going, and eat healthy and not have to worry about those fish sandwiches that make your stomach hurt that Jayvon talked about earlier.
It's so embarrassing to rehash that story, but it's true.
Sorry. So across the bottom of the screen on the crawler, you'll see how you can order your packages of the delicious bean soup, sugarshackfarm.com. Or let me see, there's another way. You can go here to her Facebook page, Jayvon Muhammad, or at Instagram, Sugar Shack Farm.
Or you can just reach out. Is the phone, is that able to get the phone?
Yes.
All right. It's 415.
Soup.
For soup.
For soup. All right. Yeah, for soup. Hey, let me get some of that.
All right. The spicy.
No. 415-244-7901 to get your soup. We got some other things to announce to you all tonight. Part of these things are with Jayvon is a part of these other things. She's a part of this. So she's not an impartial guest. She's family. And we got some things that we're doing and we want to let you all know about. Whoa, look at that one. Yes. We're coming out with a new book, Still Stepping: One Black Man's Journey as one man's journey as a Black Muslim in America. And the author, I know what you're thinking. Hey, Billy D. Williams wrote a book. No, that's not Billy D.
Really not. No.
Who is that? That's me, Brother Jamil. This new book is coming out. It'll be out in a matter of months, 2 to 3 months, I think. But it's going to be something that you want to put in your library because we get a conversation about everything. So to get the book, scan the QR code that's on your screen right now, leave your information, and when the book is released, you will be the first ones to get the first edition. What else are we doing? Oh, we're sticking to our story now. See these stickers? If your computer is not wearing the stickers, your computer is naked or poorly dressed. Either way, but your computer needs these stickers. We give these to you in exchange for any donation that you make to Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Teasha. You just scan that QR code in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, or right-hand corner now of your screen, and make sure that you get the information and put it in there. We'll ship it out to you. Sister Colleen, yours are coming out this week. Brother William has some more stickers going out to Oakland. We got stickers going. Brother Earl, your stickers are coming to Philadelphia. So we're going around the country. But when you go to the coffee shop and pop open your laptop, you want to look like you know what you're talking about. Nothing.
All right. So don't forget, when you scan that QR code, if you want the stickers, in the comments, put your address so I can mail them to you. Okay.
All right.
And one more thing we want to share with you.
Ooh, you better talk about that. You better talk about that, Sister Teasha.
So if you are interested in having Brother Jamil come and do a speaking engagement for you, this is the QR code that you would scan here and leave your information about the event that you need, that you would like him to come speak at or MC or things of that nature. We're trying to get real professional.
We're getting professional with it now. We had to turn down a couple of invitations last week. I'm not going to name the cities, but 2 cities wanted me to come out this fall for the Players Ball in each city. I'm not doing no more player balls. I can't.
You told him no? I told him I was coming. Okay, well, I'll back out of that. Never mind. Thanks for telling me. Sorry about that. Anyway, so that's what we have going on. I didn't know. You didn't share with me. I didn't.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, family, we did it. We're back. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. You just don't know. We have just a few more minutes. Sister Jayvon, we want to thank you again for coming on the show. You are a favorite of the show. You've taught us so much. Let me take a quick peek at some of these
the comments. Yeah, and while we're looking at the comments in this last closing section of the show,
yes.
Sister Jayvon, we have to ask you to ask your people, would they allow you to become a serial guest on the program, because there will be questions. And look, brother Jerry in Maryland says, I didn't recognize you, sister. Yes, your soup is delicious. People know you. So brother Jerry, like, oh yeah, that's all right. Yeah, and Pharaoh in Detroit has already ordered his suit for the Players Ball, and he's gonna be sweeping the floor with his mink like they do in the D, baby. That's what it is. So, Brother Errol, and I got your message, Brother Errol. He wanted to thank you, Sister Jayvon, and Sister Rolanda, for bringing the quality of life students to Philadelphia, bringing them to two places where Brother Earl saw and met them, at the Photo Posse Studios in the Germantown, or the Albany section of the city, and Sister Muhammad's Kitchen on Germantown Avenue. So that's the fact. And you're right, Brother William, the soup won't last 22 hours. I had to try it. That's it is, Brother Jay. Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Trust me. And, if you don't have to share with anybody, it's in a great, but if you got somebody always trying to monitor and, inventory the soup and then checking with you to see why is it 4 packages of soup gone? Like, let me.
Well, she sent me my own, so.
I didn't even see the box. Is it, you don't have it shelf in the pantry?
I hit it. All right, family. Don't forget, help us grow our platform by going over to our YouTube page, and you can do the @ Jamil and Teasha will take you right to the page, like, share, and subscribe, and then go to Facebook too, Teasha Muhammad and Jamil Muhammad.
And don't forget to visit sugarshackfarm.com and get your information on the soup, and get your information on how healthcare can be delivered to your community in a new and creative way. Our guest tonight has been Jayvon Muhammad. Always good to see you, sis, and your smile lights up coast to coast. We really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. May Allah bless you. All right, family, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. May Allah bless every one of you. Every one of you. Assalamu alaikum.